Hi everybody, and welcome to our free Friday paint night. Hi everybody, hope everyone's having a great day today. And tonight, we are going to be painting our wonderful, goofy ostriches. BFF Selfie is what this painting is called. I hope everyone has their paints ready and the canvas they may need. Whatever size you want, I'm using a 16 by 20 inch size canvas. And you may notice I've already drawn on their beaks. Let me show you how we do that. I hope everybody has downloaded and printed out the tracers I supplied, which shows the beaks that you can just print out like that. Cut them out, like so. Mark them as top left, or top right or bottom left, as it shows on the cutouts I provided. And then you place them on the canvas in the positions, actually any position you want, it really doesn't matter. But if you want to copy this exactly, bottom left goes like that, and you trace around it. You can use a marker or a pencil, whatever suits you. Top right goes there like that, and we'll fill in the rest as we go along. So hopefully everybody's got that done by now. Just a quick introduction. We'll start properly painting in about 2 or 3 minutes just to let everybody catch up. My name is Gary Parker. Our company is Paint and Cocktails. We've been doing paint nights in the restaurant and private party industry for about 5 years. And of course lately, since say March, we've been not doing restaurants, but we have been doing online private parties. So if you're interested, I'll be talking about that at the end, where you can contact us about more information. Some of you have picked up a paint kit from us. There's little paints like this. You can use them directly from here, or you can scoop them up with a spoon and put them onto your plate. Now here I've just poured out some paint with the colors. We've got red, yellow, blue, a teeny bit of brown, some white, and a teeny bit of black. Hope everyone can see that okay? Good. And again, for those who may have picked up the kits from us, we have 3 brushes, a big, medium, and a little. Doesn't really matter on the style. I have another set like this, a couple of bigs, a medium, and I'll use a little. Very important, a cup of water. Now this is not for drinking. Well, it's okay now, but in a few minutes, it's going to be undrinkable, so keep that in mind. If you've got a drink on the go and your paint water, please don't mix them up. It happens. In addition, we have some napkins or some paper towels, and that's for cleaning your brushes. Now, there is a pro tip on cleaning brushes. And I'll tell you which brush to use, I'll tell you which paints to use, and I'll tell you when it's time to clean your brush. When you clean your brush, here's the pro tip. Hold your cup of water, put your brush right to the bottom, and scrub on the bottom and the sides thoroughly. Tap out the excess, and the real cleaning comes on your napkin. Lots of dabs. The more you dab, the more you scrape, the more you dab, the cleaner it will come. The paints I'm using are acrylic. Hopefully you're using acrylic too. Please don't use oils. They take forever to dry, like a month. This only takes a couple of hours. The paint I'm using is non-toxic. It can dissolve in water. It cleans off your fingers, no problem. Clothing, not so much. If you look at what I'm wearing now, you know, it's been washed 100 times, the paint stays. If you should happen to get paint on your clothing right now, today as we're painting, grab a bit of water, a bit of scrubbing, maybe a bit more water, a bit more scrubbing, it will come out. If you don't notice it till the morning, however, you may be stuck. So just keep that in mind. Alright, so I'm going to give you all about another minute to make sure you've traced out your beaks, that you've got your paint lined up on your plate. Again, I don't know if you can see that well. We've got some white, some black, some red, some yellow, some blue, and we're going to mix up in the middle here. We're actually going to mix not like this. That just makes a big brown mess. What we will be doing is mixing up colors right into the paint. So for example, if I want to make a light blue, I'm going to scoop up some white, put it right into a corner of my blue, and I'm going to mix up there. And instead of doing this kind of action, what we will do is a vertical stir. That is dab, 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 stir in place, dab, dab, dab. If you always take a little bit of the darker color, not too much, because you can always add more if you need it. You can't take it away once it's in, so keep that in mind. All right. We will be starting to outline the beaks, the eyes, and then we're going to outline the fluffy feathers all around our ostriches, and then we will start painting the background. Now the background can be any color that you like. I've made a steel blue, and I'll show you how to make that, but you can use any color that will show off the lovely colors in front. I have a question from somebody. Where are the stencils? If you go to our group page and under File or further down the post, down the page itself, you'll see the PDFs with the stencils right there. And there'll be a supply list. All right. I think we can get started. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is make up a light yellow with the medium brush. So let's grab a medium brush. And we're going to make up a light yellow to paint in the eyes and some of the jaggedy feathers. The reason we're using a light yellow is in case you make a mistake or you do something you don't like, it paints over very well. If you're going to do it in a black color, it's almost impossible to paint over it. So, I grab my canvas, grab my paint, and to do the light yellow, remember it's always a little bit of the darker, much more of the lighter, so I'm going to scoop up a little bit of yellow, put it right into the corner of my white, and stir in place, and make this really pastel-y. Now, I'll show you, when I'm painting, you won't see it. The camera won't pick it up. I'll give you an example. I'm going to do the eyes. And that's probably almost impossible to see. So I'm going to make my color right now a little darker so that you can see it. And I hope everyone's got some music going on, because this is a fun party, paint party. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We have fun. We call this fun art, not fine art. Don't worry about the background you may see. That's a previous drawing when I'm painting right on top of it. I like to reuse the canvases. And we'll do another eye over here. And as you can see, it's right on the corners of the cheeks. So you've got two eyes, you've got the beaks put in. I'm going to clean my brush because it's got the brown in it so you can see. Dab, 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 dab. I'm going to grab some of that light yellow again. And this is where we start to use the brush. But we're going to be using it this way, the front end portion of the bristles. And I'm going to just start doing some flicks. Bit of a mohawk, like that. That gives an outline of where we're going to put our feathers on top and where we want to paint around the background. I'm actually going to switch. I think it would be a good idea to switch up to a bigger brush to do these feather marks. If anyone has trouble seeing the paint color I'm using, let me know and I can make it darker. But you're going to do it in a light yellow. It's just a rough around the face. Some of them will be a little wilder, some are taller, some are shorter. Remember, we're using the front edge of the paintbrush. Please let me know if you can't see that. Awesome. I hope everybody knows who Bob Ross is. You know, my twin. We have the same hair. No, he has an afro. I don't have hair. If you don't know who Bob Ross is, he is the ultimate paint teacher with a PBS show from the 70s and 80s. Marvelous fellow, retired from the Air Force to take up painting and teaching it. He has the most mellow, mild-mannered disposition you could ever imagine. So I've moved on to the other ostrich creature here. I'm just outlining where I want to put some feathers, pretty random. But we're just making these wild feathers ideas so we know where we're going to paint around it. Everyone sees that. Gives a good start. We've got our basic outline right here. I'm going to stop for a second because I'm going to now clean my brush. Paintbrush, big brush, into the cup, stir, scrub on the bottom, scrub good, tap out good, and dry on the napkins. All right. Somebody says they need help. Marjorie, tell us what you need. See what we can do to help you. Don't be afraid to chat. Let us know. Okay, so now I'm going to make this steel blue background color, which again you can use any color you like, but to make the steel blue I'm going to make up some gray. Gray is a little bit of black. No, I mean a little bit of black. So here's my brush. I'm going to put a little corner right into my white. Lots of white, lots of white, lots of white. See my brush, got lots of gray on it. I'm going to scoop up a little bit of blue. With my brush, I scooped up blue. Put it into that gray. The more white, the better. And you're going to end up with this gray-blue color. Now we're going to eventually need lots more of this, but I've got about that much going on the go. My brush has got both sides. I'm going to scrape off a little bit. I don't want too much on my brush. And I'm going to paint around the feathers in the background. So you can see the picture here. It's got the steel blue as a background. You can paint this in any technique you like, just straight down, cross. I like to use a crosshatch, using both sides of my brush back and forth, making little X's. For me, this spreads the paint nicely. It covers the surface area. Going to go a little bit between my feathers. It doesn't matter if you happen to go on top of some, because we're going to be painting on top anyway. Back and forth, back and forth. Now, this is very forgiving paint. If you don't like what you've done, let's say that's a little dark, and I want to make it lighter, I'm just going to take my brush, I haven't cleaned it, I'm going to dip it straight into some white, a little bit of white on the end of my brush, and I go over on top. And they'll blend in nicely. While it's still wet, it will blend in, lighten that up a little bit, if that's what I want. Whatever you want, it's all good. There's no mistakes in art. As Bob Ross used to say, happy little mistakes. You can make happy trees, happy background, happy feathers. So that's what I've got so far. I'm kind of painting around my feather marks. I'm going to be doing all the gaps in between. I won't necessarily paint directly on the face. I'm going to go around. A little bit around the eyes. Over the feathers a bit. Now, one of the most important things about painting, this is very important for everyone, pay attention. Remember to breathe. Don't hold your breath when you paint. I've seen it many times. We have done thousands of paint nights. And one of the most common refrains is because they're just breathing. They just remember to breathe. So please remember to breathe when you paint. Don't be too hard on yourself. Paint's forgiving. I'm forgiving. Alright, I'm doing over the eye. Can everyone see? Doing a bit around the eye. And by doing the crosshatch technique, it leaves a nice texture to the paint. Instead of just straight lines, you get a bit of a texture going. And this is very fast drying paint. You guys have actually literally signed up to watch paint dry. How do you get the video on your computer? So you need to log into the Facebook account, your Facebook account, and into our group. When you joined up to that Facebook group page, and you'll see the video. If you should happen to miss this, if you come late or it's just too much for you right now, I will be saving it to the Facebook page for at least a few days, so you can get it tonight or tomorrow, over the weekend anyway. So no panic. You see how that's coming along? I'm going to make it some more. Let me make it a little bit more blue into my white there. You could always change up the shades as you go. If you think, oh, I don't like that shade, change it up by a little bit color at a time. Now for painting, maybe I should have mentioned this at the beginning, you don't have to hold it like I'm holding it. This is lots of practice. You can paint on a flat surface, on your table, on your counter, that's all allowed. If you have an easel, that's fine too. You don't have to hold it like this. I have to hold it and paint so you can see. Alright, we're almost done. The background doesn't take long at all. And you don't have to be precise. Like I've filled in some spots and I've left some spots open. The original at the bottom doesn't have any background, doesn't have any in the middle. We can paint over whatever we've done. Just take a look to make sure that the white canvas is not showing for where you want the background. Alright, so when you're done, that will be the idea of what your canvas will, your own version of this, your own version, your own shades, your own color background. So now you have a good outline of where the beaks are going to be, where the eyes are going to be, where the feathers are roughly going to be, roughly, and then we will start in filling in some of the details. So I'm going to give you guys another 5 minutes to get this going, and the background will dry very, very quickly. In about 10 minutes it will be dry to the touch. Anybody need more than 5 minutes? let me know in the comments or send me something on a message on the post there. This is a good time to take a drink if you feel finished your background. Sounds good. All right. In the meantime, I am going to clean my brushes. If you finished your background, you can clean your brushes too. Stir, 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 stir. Anyone noticed it got a little colder today? A bit different from yesterday, no? That's for sure. Scrape, 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 dab, 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 scrape, scrape, both sides, scrub, scrub, dub, dip, dip. That's one nice and clean. Next one, medium one, dab, 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 dab. Brush them off. Excellent. Fold it over so I can reuse it. Awesome stuff. All right. Send me a... Oh, hi from Curacao. Yes, hi. That's wonderful. A little bit warmer than here today, I'm going to presume. I know it's hard to see the canvas. I will bring it closer for you. That's where I'm at so far. And hopefully you can see the original behind me. And on the Facebook page where I have posted a copy of the original, you can, if you're on a computer, you can drag that over, copy it to your desktop so you can copy it from there. Otherwise, you've got this one to use as a reference. Again, folks, don't worry about the what appears to be a faded drawing behind here. Don't worry about that. That was a previous drawing we did. I'm just reusing this canvas. All right, everyone see that? Is that better? Can you see that? I hope so. All right. All right. Who has not finished their background yet? Send me a comment. Let me know how long I may need to wait. What I intend to do here is now go back to the big brush. I'm going to start using a color to do some of these feathers. Once again, I'm going to be using this technique of using the edge on, like that. Or maybe that one, it's a little thinner. Edge on, not like this, edge on. I'm going to start flicking like that. The technique will be flicking. And one of the tips I can give you is not to just go along and stop, because that, instead of a feather look, it will look like a twig. So we try and avoid that. We'll do a flick, 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 like that. I see some people need some more time. No problem. Jennifer, I see you waving. No problem. Let me, I'll wait a couple of minutes. Anyone having difficulties, any questions while we go, please jump in and ask. I'm here to help. Hopefully you got some music going on. All right. Let's see. Very good. So I'll hold this up again for you to see. This is where I'm at right now. I'm going to try and adjust the lighting a little bit. Let me know if this helps in seeing the canvas that I'm doing. So 1 second, please. Did that help? Can you see the canvas a little more clearly? All right, that seems to be a bit better. That's good. All right, does anybody else need more time to finish their background? All right. Everyone good? Okay, let's start with some feathers. I'm just going to use straight red. So I've got my wide brush, my wider of the three. I'm going to dip it straight into the red. So I've just got the tips in red, and this is the portion of the brush I'm going to use. And I'm going to start making feathers. Are we ready? Here we go. Feather up, feather up. Like that. Pretty frazzled, pretty goofy. I'm going to do lots of these. All over. Different heights. Just like that. That's an outline. On the other guy too over here. Frequently dip the brush to get the paint refreshed. Don't press too hard, just let the bristles at the very end do the work. Some of you may prefer to use the smaller brush, and that's perfectly allowed. So here's the medium brush. It covers a little less because it's got less bristles. But once again, I've just dipped the tips of the bristles into the paint. If you wish to stick to the big brush, that's fine too. If you'd rather use the smaller brush, go ahead. Same idea. Flick, flick, flick. Now that's not enough. We need to do much more. So don't be afraid to go a little wild. As you can see from the original, they're pretty feathery. So we need quite a few more. And we will be mixing up the colors real soon. For the necks, you fill them all in. The necks here are filled in with feathers of different shades, different colors. Lots and lots of feathers. Of course, as you keep brushing, the paint's going to come off of the brush. It's going to give a lighter color to it. So we can refresh the brush. Just dip it in. Refresh the brush. Gives a darker shade. Alright, so that's the one I'm chosen to do right now, is red. I'll come back to that. The trick to any good painting is layers. layers and layers and layers of paint. So we're going to start with this layer of red. We'll come back to red later too. Next I'm going to go to orange because it's the same warm family of colors. So we're going to change this to orange by simply dipping it into a corner of yellow. Let me put this down for you. Pick up my paints. Right into the corner of yellow, like that. Going to mix around. More yellow than red gives me a nice orange. Now you can change up the shade if you would rather it have a brighter orange, more yellow. You'd like to have a darker orange, more red. Either one's fine. For me, that's too much paint on the brush. I'm going to scrape that off on the side of the plate just to help remove some of the lumps of paint. Now I'm going to throw on some orange and go right over some of the other feathers you've already done. Make them go loopy and this way and that way, different lengths. Remember to refresh. It's important to refresh. So can you see I've got some orange going on now. Both birds, some orange and red. But lots more. We're going to need lots more. So I'm dipping my brush. I haven't added any more red to my brush. I'm just dipping it into the orangey yellow mixture right now. Scrape off a little bit. Don't want too much. You can go up high. Into the cheeks a little bit. Down low. Some more. All right. How's everyone's ostriches coming along? You can see it's coming together, right? Okay, I'm going to clean my brush because I'm going to grab some plain yellow, I think. So let me just put this down. Scrub it up, Doug. You may notice I haven't changed my paint to water. I don't really need to. The process of scrubbing helps dissolve the paint away from your brush, and the real cleaning comes from scrubbing on your napkin. Now this water is really looking pretty. This is kind of a pink drink. Just don't remember, don't drink it. It happens. Happens more than you think. All right. So, straight yellow. Straight yellow into my brush. I'm just going to throw some on here. Right in the middle of the neck. Everyone see that? So we've got red, orange, yellow going on. Excellent. I'm going to flick the brush off the canvas. Don't just end it in a dead end like a broken twig. We want it to come away from the canvas a little bit. Flick, flick, flick. brush. Any questions, anybody? This is the basic technique we're going to use for the feathers. And then we're going to draw in the mouths and paint around the mouths. We're going to paint the eyes and the pupils. For the mouths, you can, if you wish, just use a marker just to draw whatever shape mouth you'd like to do. Or you could use your paintbrush. That would be the small paintbrush. You can see that, I hope. Small, because we'll be using the end of that, the very tip, to draw. I always recommend to start using that light yellow we did at the beginning as a guide for the mouths. Just in case it doesn't turn out the way you want it and you want to paint around it to make it all smoother, then you can paint over what you've painted in the yellow. You can paint in a darker color and reshape it. All right. Anybody have difficulty seeing what I've been up to so far, where we're at? Anybody having difficulties with the technique? Just let me know. Okay. We can change up the color now. Maybe I'll add some green. If you don't have green paint to use, of course we can use our primary colors to make green. For example, my medium brush. So green is yellow and blue. So I'm going to mix right here where the two meet. For me, I poured them together. I'm just going to start mixing the yellow and blue together. Now it's more yellow than it is blue. So I'm moving into my yellow section. That gives me a kind of a limey green. If I want to make it a little darker, I just add some more blue. Little by little, little by little. Very important. And magically, it makes green right before your eyes. Let's see that? Green. Same technique, folks. Front edge of the brush. Start flicking around. Oh, I went right over the red that was still wet. I need some more green. Now, one of the techniques you can use is changing the pressure you put on to the canvas with your brush. Maybe you've done some really light ones. Now you can just push a little harder. Remember to flick off at the end. You get different pressure. You change the shape of the feather. Maybe some eyebrows, eyebrow looking feathers. Just like that. This is a fun painting. You're free to be creative. You're not constrained by must-dos or must-nots. This is where you just get to have some fun. There's no mistakes. All good. True story. All right. If you guys have a moment to, if you want to ask questions or you want to tell me perhaps where you're watching from. So far the furthest away I see is the island of Curacao. That's amazing. It's a lovely, lovely place. Very tropical. Now you get to decide the theme, color theme of your ostriches. It could be all wacky colors like we've done here, or if you prefer something that's got more red to it, do more feathers with a red theme to it. If you prefer blue, green, you go ahead and decide what color theme, if at all, you want to throw onto your ostriches here. Now maybe I'll add the little blue. I don't really need to clean my brush. This is a blue family. I'm just going to dip right into the blue. Scrape off a little to make some turquoise, because the green and the blue mixed together will make a nice turquoise. If you can see that turquoise color coming up. Do some close to the face. And we'll go to purple soon, because we're still in that blue family. Remember to refresh your brush with paint. Sometimes we forget. And you notice how I'm not being too careful. I'm not taking my time, going slowly along, being pretty much loose with the brush. Just go ahead and flick that bristles around pretty randomly. Alright, let me just put that down for a second. Take a look. So a bit of hard work, yeah? It's not just one or two strokes. We're going to do a lot more feathers, layering, 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 and then we'll get to the details of the mouth and the eyes. Hope everyone can see that okay. All right. That way. Very good. All right, guys. You guys are doing great. Okay. Maybe some purple. Everyone remember how do you make a purple? Bit of red, bit of blue together, and the quantities of each will change up the shade that you're doing. To make lavender, once you've made your purple, you can add some white. Alright, so I'm going to scoop up some blue, put it right into the corner of some of my red paint, my puddle of paint, mix that together. Alright, I got some purple. Let's start throwing on some purple. Maybe a little some closer to the mouth. Refresh. So if you prefer a nice purple theme, lavender and purple, different shades, you can do more of that shade. Whatever works for you. It's all good. No wrong answers. You can see that? purple, reds, greens, orange. Awesome. All right. This is one of the funnest paintings we do. All right. So remember, don't be too careful. Be a little loose with your flicks. Be quick. Get them all around. See that okay? Again, let me know either in the comments or as a post if you need any help, if you're having difficulty. Everything's doable here. All right. I'm going to wait a few minutes. We're going to help just add some more colors, and then we're going to work on the mouth, the beak, some teeth and a tongue, some nostrils, and then the eyes. And you can decide whether or not you want to do the rough right around the beak. Some people do, some people don't. It looks nice sometimes with just the glow of white behind it instead of color. It's all allowed. Speaking of white, straight white works too. So here's a medium brush with some just plain white on it, and going over some of the paint that's already dry, you can throw on some white. If it's not dry, it just lightens up the color you got already. One of the colors we can make, we have white on our brush. Get a little bit of red, little bit of red into your white. Mix it up a little bit. That makes a nice pink. For those with a nice red thing going on, we can throw some pink between. Again, we can add white to the purple. That makes a beautiful light lavender. We'll do that in a minute. Some more pink, I think. Hope everyone's having fun. Hope no one's stressing, because this is meant to be relaxing and fun, not stressful. All right. Bring this in again to show people. You see where I'm at? I've thrown some pink on there, some white on there, purple. Maybe I'll throw some lavender. So I've got white on my brush. I'm going to put that right into the purple I made before. Quite a bit of white. You need quite a bit to pastel these colors down a bit. Yeah, I got a nice light purple going on here. Like that. Layer, 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 layer. That's the trick. Lots of feathers. All right, that's coming along great. Just some details to do in a minute. Very good. So all it takes is a few minutes for the first layers you've got painted to dry a little bit. Then you can switch up the color, add again whatever color you want more prominent. If you still want crazy colors, that's allowed too. If you want to put a bolder red on top, just wait a few minutes for this layer to dry, dip straight into the red, go on top and do another layer of red, more of whatever color you want to be predominant, or just leave them all kind of wacky. That's allowed too. So you're going to end up with your version of this. It won't be an exact duplicate. I can guarantee you. Neither will mine be the same as this. Every time we do it, it's similar but different. And that's the running theme of all of our paint nights. Whenever you do your version, it's your version. Similar but different. All right. Okay, are we ready to move on to the mouths? Raise your hand or let me know if you're not ready yet. I think I'm going to turn the light up a little bit. Alright. Okay, let's do the mouths. I'm going to recommend using the small brush, and I'm going to recommend doing that light yellow color. If you need to use a second plate, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to be using my own plate. I usually end up just one plate. A little bit of yellow into some white. We're going to make a pastel color. You may not be able to see it. I will go over it so you can. And we're going to start with the bottom left corner mouth. Try and be as smooth as possible. Nice big grin. Now, I can almost guarantee you can't see what I did. So I'm going to make mine a little darker so you can see. In fact, maybe I'll do it in black. Again, you can use a marker or you can use the small brush. I'm going to put in a couple of teeth. Everyone see what I'm doing here? A couple of goofy teeth. Right down like that. And the tongue hanging out. Like that. Alright, I am then going to clean this brush and we're going to paint around the mouths onto the beaks. Let's clean up some brushes. Scrub, 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 scrub. And dab, 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 dab. Lots of dabbing on the napkins. If it needs a second wash, sure will. One clean. Dab, dab, dab. Scrape, 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 dab, dab, dab. Scrape, 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 dab, dab, dab. Clean. Dab, dab, dab. Scrape, 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 dab, dab. Both sides. Clean. Clean brushes. Alright, I'm going to make a peach color. So we're going to start off with some orange. If you've still got orange on the go, that's great. We will be adding a bit of white to it to give it that peachy color. We're going to use a couple of shades when we start off. So let's start off with some orange. A little bit of either straight orange that you have already bought, or a bit of red and yellow together. Little red, lots of yellow. Scoop of white into there. Give me a peachy color. Mix them up. Bit of a red tinge to this one, I think. I'm using the medium brush. If you want to use the small brush, it's entirely up to you. There's no wrong answer. But I'm going to start painting the beaks. Like that. If I need to change the angle of my brush to fit in, I will. Just like that. So this is the part where you say to yourself, if you're not happy with the shape of the mouth that you drew in the beak, you can paint over it. And because you've done it in a nice light yellow, you will paint right over it without a problem. I did mine in black so you could see, and it's still going to show through it. We will add another shade to this when it dries in a little bit. I'm going to use the same color on the other beak as well. Around the mouth. Easy as pie. Very good, guys. Paint in. Oh! I don't know if you saw that. My paint was still wet. It's okay. I'll paint over it. I'm going to clean that off. There. Put some more orange. A little white in there. Go around his mouth. There you go. We have a painted beak. It's coming together, right? How's everyone doing? We on the beaks yet? Tidy that up a little bit, I think. If you've poured some paint onto your plate and you think it's getting a little dry, a little thicker than it should be, you can always just dip a brush into your water or into some fresh water and just dip it into the paint you're using. Stir it around, it will thin it out. Don't get it runny, drippy. You don't want to drip dirty water onto your canvas because it runs and it stains. So be careful of that. So the first beak I did, the bottom left one, it's tacky dry already. Perfect for another shade. I'm going to make up another shade of orange, but a bit more red this time. Scrape off. I don't want too much paint on my brush. I like to scrape it off the edge of the plate. Like so. Scrape off like that. And I'm going to put some shading in around here, and here, and here, on that sort of darker, orangey little shade of red in there. Just along the edges. Feather very lightly. Feather it from the sides. Above the lips there. Very light. It's the layering the techniques that make it look really good. Just throwing in very, very, I'm hardly touching the canvas. Just putting very little paint, blending it in a bit with some of that orange. So I've got two tones. I've got a bit of pink and orange and red. See that? Different shades going on. I'm going to do the same thing with the other ostrich. Scrape, scrape, scrape. I don't want too much paint on my brush. And I'm going to add some shading. Just like that. Notice I didn't refresh my brush. I'm just using the paint that's on the brush to just keep feathering, keep spreading it very nice and light, very light, just to spread around. So we've got the first layer of a lighter orange and a second layer of either a darker orange, a tinge of red, just to shade it up a little. You know, one's darker than the other. One's got sort of lipstick on and one doesn't. All right. I'll wait a few minutes for you guys to catch up. We're going to clean this brush and we're going to switch to the small brush to do the insides of the mouth, tongue, insides of the mouth, the eyes. Teeth are going to be white. I'm going to start off the eyes. We're going to be brown, first of all, and then another layer of black. So I'm going to clean my brush. Scrub, 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 scrub on the bottom. Scrub good. I think I might get some more paper towel. Alright, that's clean. I'm going to use my small brush. Anybody not yet ready to do the insides of the mouths? Let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to presume everyone's caught up and we're going to start painting the insides of the mouths, which at first is going to be a darker red, and then a little bit of black, and then the eyes. Okay, so depending on what shade of red you've got, if you like the red, great. If you want it darker, add a teeny, weeny, tiny, teeny little bit of black into your red to darken it up. And I mean tiny, teeny. Oh, I've disappeared.